Criticism is not always a sign that you are doing wrong. Sometimes it is opportunity to see what you could do better. Assalamu alaikum. In another AI session, I am Fafra Tehreem Challenge. Today we are discussing something most of us experience but often find difficult to handle: a criticism. Whether it comes from a teacher, colleague, friend, family member, or even from people online, criticisms can sometimes hurt our confidence. But what if we learn to look at criticism differently? What if instead of taking every comment personally, we use constructive feedback as a tool for learning, growth, and self improvement? So let's begin today's conversation with ChatGPT and explore how we can respond to criticism with confidence,
Mm,
wisdom, and growth mindset. So ChatGPT, let's start with the basics. What is criticism and why can it difficult for people to accept?
checking. Thanks, Sakra. That's a thoughtful topic. So, criticism is basically an expression of judgment about someone's actions or ideas. It can be constructive, as in meant to help, or destructive, meant to tear someone down. It's often hard to accept because it can feel personal, like someone is attacking us instead of just our work. But if we pause before reacting, we can ask, is there something useful here I can learn? Seen that way, even uncomfortable criticism can be a doorway to growth, almost like feedback that sharpens our skills.
So, as you said that constructive and destructive criticism. So, how can we recognize the difference between these two?
Right. So, constructive criticism usually focuses on specific behavior or outcomes, and it often comes with suggestions for improvement. Like, hey, this part of your project could be clearer. Maybe try reorganizing this section. Destructive criticism usually just puts you down, like, that was awful, with no help or path forward. So, if it points to something specific and offers a way to improve, that's more likely constructive. If it attacks your worth instead of the work, yeah, that's more destructive.
Sometimes criticism feel personal, even when it is meant to help us. So, how can we control our emotions and respond calmly?
Mm, good question. It's natural to feel emotional when criticized. The trick isn't to shut emotions off, but to manage them. Try slowing down, take a breath, and listen to understand instead of defend. Ask clarifying questions like, can you give me an example? That shifts it from personal to constructive. And remind yourself feedback is information about the work, not a verdict on you. That mindset helps keep your confidence steady while still learning.
So, how can we decide whether criticism is valuable feedback that we should act on or simply an opinion we can respectfully ignore?
Mm, good point. Ask yourself three things. First, is it specific and actionable? If yes, that's useful. Second, is it coming from someone knowledgeable or trustworthy about the thing they're critiquing? And third, does it align with your goals or values? If it's vague, mean spirited, or way off base, you can thank the person if needed and let it go. Not every comment deserves your energy. The key is choosing feedback that helps you grow instead of absorbing everything.
Many people become defensive when someone points out their mistakes. So why do we become defensive, and how can we develop a healthier response?
Checking. Right. That's a great point. We get defensive because our brains hear criticism as a threat to our self image. A healthier response starts with pausing, listening fully, and reminding yourself that mistakes are normal. Try asking, "What can I learn?" instead of, "How do I prove I'm right?" If the feedback is true, own it. If it's unclear, ask for suggestions instead of arguing. That mindset turns defensiveness into curiosity. Over time, practicing that shift builds confidence and makes criticism a tool instead of a trigger. It's tough sometimes, but incredibly empowering.
So, how can criticism help us identify our weaknesses and turn them into opportunities for self improvement?
Checking? Great question. Okay. Criticism can highlight blind spots we didn't notice. The trick is to turn it into action. Pick one clear takeaway, make a small improvement plan, and practice it. Then ask for feedback again. It's like training a muscle. Feedback, adjust, practice, repeat. Over time, that process transforms weaknesses into skills. Criticism doesn't have to be scary. Handled well, it becomes a steady ladder toward growth.
So, what should we do when criticism comes from someone we respect, especially when hearing it is difficult or painful?
Checking. That is such a tough but valuable situation. When criticism comes from someone you respect, it helps to listen with an open mind. Breathe through that first wave of emotion and look for the intention behind it. If they care enough to tell you, there's usually something worth considering. You can ask clarifying questions like, "What would you suggest I try differently?" Turning pain into something useful. And give yourself time. You don't have to act immediately. Respect the relationship, but also respect your own growth rhythm. Sometimes the best move is to reflect, then act. That's how painful feedback turns into a step forward.
Okay, so in the age of the social media, people can receive criticisms even from strangers. So, how can we handle negative online comments without allowing them to affect our confidence?
Checking. Very relevant question. On social media, the trick is to react with wisdom, not emotion. Pause before responding. Ask if the comment has useful feedback. If not, don't feed it. Ignore, block, or mute. Remember, online negativity says more about the poster than about you. Keep your space healthy. Focus on your goals and let your consistent actions speak louder than random comments. That keeps your confidence intact.
So, can regularly seeking honest feedback help us grow faster? If yes, then how can we ask for feedback in a positive and productive way?
Checking. Yes, regular feedback speeds growth. Ask the right people, like mentors or colleagues. Be specific, like, "What's one thing I could improve?" Listen without interrupting. Thank them, act on one or two points, then check back later. That cycle turns feedback into fuel, not friction. Think of it as continuous learning. Each conversation becomes a chance to polish skills and get closer to your goals.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for sharing these practical and meaningful insights. Today's conversation teaches us an important lesson. We don't have to accept every criticism, but we should learn to listen, reflect, and grow from useful feedback. Before we end, I would like everyone to reflect on one question. What is one piece of criticism I have received that could teach me something valuable about myself. Remember, making mistakes does not make us weak, and receiving criticism does not define our worth. What truly matters is how we respond, what we learn, and how we choose to improve. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of today's AI learning and reflection session. Keep learning, keep reflecting, keep improving, and never be afraid to turn feedback into growth. I'm Fakhra Tahreem, Challenge Wali. Allah Hafiz, and see you in our next AI session. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Thank you, Fakra.